Have you ever wondered what subtle, unseen things you might be accepting from others that are quietly sabotaging your peace and self-worth? Today, we're going to dive deep into the 9 things you should never receive from anyone. Yes, even those closest to you. These aren't just about unwanted gifts or empty compliments, but the more insidious things like unsolicited advice, misplaced expectations, and emotional burdens that can quietly derail your journey toward personal growth. In this video, we'll not only help you recognize these hidden traps, but I'll also guide you on how to reject them with the wisdom and grace of a Stoic, ensuring that your boundaries remain strong and your mind clear. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end, where I reveal the most dangerous thing you should never accept from anyone, and how this one realization can unlock a new level of inner freedom. Now, before we dive in, I encourage you to subscribe to Stoic Rise Up for more content that will inspire your path toward a fulfilled, Stoic life. If you're ready to transform your mindset and reclaim your peace, hit the like button and comment below with the phrase, "Protect your peace," so I know you're ready to stand strong in the face of life's challenges. Let's begin this journey together. 1. The trap of unsolicited opinions. Have you ever felt like you're a magnet for unsolicited opinions? The kind that shows up uninvited, much like an overly eager salesperson at your door, offering something you never asked for. Today, we dive into the first toxic weed that we must uproot from the garden of our mind: unsolicited opinions. Imagine this scene. You're standing in line at the supermarket, ready to pay for your cart filled with fruits and vegetables. Suddenly, the person behind you looks at your groceries and blurts out, "Oh, are you sure all that fiber won't upset your stomach?" Just like that, an unsolicited opinion appears, almost comical in its delivery, but often insidious in its effect. At first glance, these comments may seem harmless or even amusing, but in reality, unsolicited opinions can be like weeds in a garden, slowly suffocating your confidence and self-worth. Why? Because if we're not careful, we start to question our decisions, second-guess our judgments, and, worst of all, live according to the expectations of others. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, offered profound wisdom on this matter when he wrote, "Do not be troubled by the opinions of others, except when they align with your own principles." These few words hold a world of insight. But how do we integrate this wisdom into our everyday lives? It's not about becoming a recluse who rejects all outside input. Instead, it's about cultivating an inner filter, a mental tool that can detect whether an opinion is worth keeping or discarding. Here's how you can apply it. Did I ask for this opinion? If the answer is no, that's your first clue. Uninvited advice often doesn't serve your growth. Does this person really know my situation or have relevant experience? If it's your neighbor offering career advice when they've never worked in your field, you might want to reconsider taking it to heart. Does this opinion align with my values and goals? Ultimately, you are the expert on your life. No one else knows your aspirations, your struggles, or your motivations better than you. This doesn't mean you should disregard all advice. Sometimes, even unsolicited opinions carry nuggets of wisdom. But the key is to learn to sift through them, like a prospector searching for gold in a river full of rocks. Smile, acknowledge the gesture, even if it's the grocery store lady commenting on your fiber intake, and then ask yourself, does this opinion deserve space in my mind, or should I let it drift away? Your mind is like a beautiful garden. The thoughts you plant and nurture are what will grow. And if an unsolicited opinion finds its way in, don't hesitate to reach for your mental pruning shears. Keep your garden free from weeds, and let only what aligns with your values take root. 2. The dangerous gift of others' expectations. Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life? Imagine for a moment that your life is a pristine blank canvas. The brush is in your hand, ready for you to create your masterpiece. But before you can even begin, suddenly, bam! Your parents, your boss, your friends, even society itself, all appear with their own paintbrushes, eager to tell you exactly how your picture should look. You should be a lawyer, says one voice. Get married before 30, insists another. Buy a house, have kids, secure a stable job, they all shout in unison. And before you even realize it, your canvas is cluttered with strokes and colors that don't belong to you, but to everyone else. The dangerous gift of others' expectations can be more venomous than a snake hidden in your garden. Why? Because unlike unsolicited opinions, these expectations often come from people we love and respect, making them even harder to shake off. But here's the interesting thing. History is filled with people who dared to defy expectations and create their own path. Take Albert Einstein, for example. Yes, the disheveled genius who revolutionized physics. Did you know his teachers once considered him a poor student, even predicting he would never achieve anything remarkable? Yet Einstein didn't just meet expectations, he shattered them. He dared to think differently, to question the established norms, and as a result, he changed our understanding of the universe. Now, imagine what would have happened if Einstein had followed the mold others set for him. If he had listened to those who doubted his potential, we might never have experienced the brilliance of his mind. His example reminds us that while expectations can feel heavy, they don't have to define us. However, we're not saying you should disregard everyone's opinion and live like a rebellious hermit. The trick is learning how to filter these expectations. Which ones resonate with your true self, and which ones should you let go of? Here's where our Stoic philosophers come in. Epictetus, a revered Stoic thinker, had a simple yet profound approach to dealing with external pressures. He said, "Some things are in our control, and some are not." This applies beautifully to the expectations of others. You can't control what others expect of you, but you can control how you respond. So, next time you feel the weight of others' expectations bearing down on you, try this. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that those are their expectations, not yours. Ask yourself, does this expectation align with my values and goals? If the answer is no, express gratitude for the intention behind it. Because most expectations come from a place of care, and then kindly let it go. Remember, you are the artist of your life. No one else can paint your masterpiece. Living under the weight of others' expectations is like wearing shoes that don't fit, uncomfortable, and over time, harmful. So, walk barefoot if you must, but do it on your own terms. At the end of the day, you are the only person you truly have to live with. So why not make that journey an authentic, exciting adventure, free from the constraints of others' expectations? 3. The hidden burden of favors with second intentions. Have you ever received a gift that seemed too good to be true? Imagine your life as a game of chess. You're carefully strategizing, moving your pieces with precision, when suddenly someone offers you an extra pawn. At first it feels like a stroke of luck, right? But what if that pawn is a Trojan horse, ready to compromise your defenses from within? Favors with ulterior motives are exactly like that. Gifts wrapped in false generosity, carrying hidden burdens that often outweigh their apparent benefits. They may seem harmless, even helpful at first glance, but their true cost can be subtle and ultimately costly. But how can we identify these deceptive favors? Here are a few telltale signs to watch for. Frequency. If someone is constantly offering you favors for no apparent reason, be cautious. Overgenerosity can sometimes be a red flag. Why the sudden interest in helping you? Timing. Does this favor conveniently appear right when that person needs something from you? If the timing feels too perfect, it's worth considering whether there's more to it than meets the eye. Intuition. Trust your gut. If something feels off about the favor, it probably is. Your instincts are a powerful tool in detecting underlying intentions. Consequences. Does accepting this favor put you in a compromising position? Are there strings attached that might pull you into returning the gesture sooner than you're comfortable with? Now, we're not suggesting you live in a state of paranoia, refusing all offers of help. There are plenty of genuine, kind-hearted people out there who offer favors with no hidden agenda. The challenge lies in developing what we might call a genuine favor detector. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, offered wisdom on this matter. He believed that true favors come from a place of pure generosity, a desire to help without expecting anything in return. So the next time someone offers you a favor, ask yourself, is this person acting like the Seneca in my life, offering help freely? Or are they more like an undercover salesman, offering something with the expectation of a return? And here's perhaps the most important takeaway. Learn to say no, guilt-free. If a favor doesn't feel right, if it stirs unease in your mind or gut, it's perfectly acceptable to decline it politely. Your peace of mind is far more valuable than any favor someone might offer. Don't let anyone make you feel indebted for something you didn't ask for. In the chess game of life, you are the master of your moves. Take a moment, breathe, and analyze the situation before accepting any offer that feels too good to be true. Remember, while others may offer advice, favors, or opportunities, the pieces on the board are yours to move. 4. The trap of constant negativity. Have you ever noticed how certain people seem to carry a dark cloud with them, casting shadows of pessimism on everything around them? Picture your mind as a vibrant, blossoming garden. Now imagine these negative influences as relentless snails, gnawing away at every leaf of positivity you nurture. Sounds unsettling, doesn't it? The truth is, constant negativity acts like a slow-acting poison, creeping into our lives often without us noticing. At first, it might appear harmless, even normal. After all, who doesn't complain from time to time? But when negativity becomes the standard, it slowly eats away at our happiness and inner peace. And don't just take this on faith. Science has weighed in on the subject too. Studies have shown that emotions like negativity can be contagious. Yes, you heard that right. Negativity can latch onto you like an emotional cold, spreading and infecting your mood. Researchers call this phenomenon emotional contagion, and it's very real. In fact, a study from Indiana University found that prolonged exposure to negativity can actually affect your brain function. Imagine that. Those constant complaints and pessimistic remarks aren't just ruining your day, they may be rewiring your brain. The stakes are higher than we think. So, what can we do to protect ourselves from this silent toxin without cutting ourselves off from the world entirely? Once again, our Stoic friends come to the rescue with ancient wisdom for modern challenges. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, shared a powerful insight that we can apply in the face of negativity. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. At first, it sounds simple, but in its simplicity lies immense power. Marcus Aurelius is teaching us that we hold the power over how we respond to the negativity around us. The negativity of others does not need to become your own. So, the next time you feel trapped in a spiral of negativity, whether it's a pessimistic colleague, a grumbling friend, or even a frustrating social media feed, take a deep breath and remember, you have the choice to remain unaffected. Ask yourself, is this negativity offering me anything of value? If the answer is no, it's time to set boundaries. And here's a Stoic twist. Practice empathy. Often, the people who spread the most negativity are those suffering the most. Understand their pain, but don't absorb it. Cultivate your own mental garden. Fill it with gratitude, positive thoughts, and purposeful actions. You can't control how others see the world, but you can absolutely control how you respond to it. If you find that your environment is filled with too much negativity, maybe it's time to reassess the company you keep. As Epictetus wisely said, the key to happiness and success is choosing the right people to surround you. It's vital to protect your mental space, just like a gardener tends to their plants, removing weeds before they choke the life from the garden. So, my friend, are you ready to detect and neutralize the negativity in your life? Remember, your mind is a delicate and beautiful garden. Tend to it, protect it, and refuse to let the weeds of negativity take root. Before we move on to the next trap, if you're finding value in this content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Stoic Rise Up. And if Stoicism resonates with you as much as it does with me, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I nurture my mind." Join our growing community, and let's continue cultivating a life of wisdom and peace together. 5. The dangerous illusion of external validation. Have you ever caught yourself constantly refreshing your phone, waiting for that notification, the one that tells you someone has liked your latest post? If so, you're not alone. Now imagine your self-esteem as a delicate balloon, and every like, compliment, or nod of approval is a breath of air that inflates it. Seems harmless, right? But here's the catch. What happens when those breaths of air stop? What happens when the likes fade, the compliments cease, and the external praise dries up? Constantly seeking external validation is like trying to build your house on quicksand. At first, it seems stable, reassuring even, but without warning, the ground beneath you can collapse. And when that happens, you're left with nothing but the sinking feeling of inadequacy, because your sense of self was built on something outside your control. Let me share a little story that might sound all too familiar. One morning, Juan decided to post a picture of his breakfast, just a simple bowl of oatmeal. He spent 20 minutes selecting the perfect filter, adjusting the lighting, and crafting a witty caption. Then he waited. For the next hour, Juan checked his phone every 30 seconds, eagerly waiting for those likes to roll in. The first like felt like a victory, but after 2 hours and only 6 likes, his mood shifted. Is my life really that dull? He wondered. Maybe I should have added strawberries. Sound familiar? It's easy to chuckle at Juan, but the truth is we've all been there in some form, searching for that external nod of approval to feel validated. But what would our Stoic friend Epictetus say about this? He had a profound insight into the source of true self-worth. He said, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will find peace." What Epictetus is teaching us here is crucial. Our happiness and self-worth should never depend on external forces that we cannot control. Instead of placing your value in the hands of others, the Stoics remind us to turn inward, to ground our sense of self in our own actions, values, and principles. So, how can we escape the trap of external validation? How can we, as Marcus Aurelius would advise, stand firm in the storm of opinions and not let them sway us? Here are some practical steps. Practice self-reflection. Regularly ask yourself why you do what you do. Are your actions aligned with your values, or are you seeking to impress others? Set your own standards. Define success on your own terms. What matters most to you? Don't let social media likes or others' opinions dictate your sense of achievement. Celebrate personal milestones. Take pride in your personal growth and accomplishments, whether or not anyone else acknowledges them. Be comfortable with disagreement. Not everyone will agree with your choices, and that's okay. True strength lies in standing by what you believe is right, even when others disagree. Remember, true validation comes from within. It's like having a wellspring of water in your own garden, a source of life and strength that you control. You don't need to depend on the unpredictable rain of others' approval. So the next time you find yourself craving that like or chasing after a compliment, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, do I truly need this to feel good about myself? Or can I find that sense of worth from within? Because at the end of the day, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. And that, my friend, is something no one can take away from you. 6. The invisible weight of unfair comparisons. Have you ever felt like you're in an endless race, constantly looking over your shoulder to see who's catching up? Life can often feel this way, like a train ride where you're enjoying the scenery, moving at your own pace, when suddenly you spot another train speeding by. And what happens next? Many of us fall into the temptation of comparing ourselves, forgetting that each train has its own track and destination. Comparisons, subtle and often unnoticed, steal our peace. They act like silent thieves, snatching away our joy and satisfaction, leaving behind an emptiness that seems impossible to fill. But here's the truth. Even the most successful people, those we admire and imagine have it all figured out, battle this inner demon of comparison. Take Lady Gaga, for example, one of the most successful artists of our time. In an interview, she confessed that for years she struggled with comparing herself to others in the music industry. I used to look at other women in the industry and feel so insecure. I wondered if I was pretty or if my music was good enough, she revealed. Her words show us that even those at the top of their game are not immune to the poison of comparison. So how do we free ourselves from this invisible burden? This is where Stoic wisdom comes to our aid. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, offers us a powerful exercise to break free from the need to compare ourselves to others. It's simple, yet transformative. Every time you catch yourself comparing, pause and ask yourself, is this under my control? The answer will almost always be no. You cannot control the talents, circumstances, or successes of others. The only thing you can control is your own actions and attitudes. Let's put this into practice. Identify comparative thinking. You find yourself thinking, I wish I were as successful as my coworker. Stop and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is my coworker's success within my control? Recognize that it is not and redirect your attention to what you can control. Your efforts, your growth, your dedication. This exercise may seem simple, but its power lies in repetition. The more you practice it, the more you strengthen your ability to focus on your own path instead of constantly peeking at someone else's. Remember, your journey is unique. There's no sense in comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Each person has their own pace, their own challenges, and their own victories. So, the next time you find yourself in the comparison trap, imagine yourself back on that train. Instead of looking out the window and envying the speed of other trains, focus on your own ride. 7. The prison of unsolicited advice. Have you ever felt like everyone around you seems to know what's best for your life, except for you? Today, let's explore the 7th trap we must avoid, the prison of unsolicited advice. Imagine your mind as a house, a sanctuary where you are the sole owner. But suddenly it feels like everyone has a key, walking in uninvited, moving your furniture, and telling you how you should live. Frustrating, right? This is exactly what unsolicited advice feels like. Unwanted guests who arrive unannounced, linger longer than necessary, and often leave an emotional mess behind. But how can we handle these situations without becoming unsocial or isolated? The first step is understanding the difference between requested and unsolicited advice. Requested advice is like inviting a trusted friend to dinner. It's welcome and appreciated. On the other hand, unsolicited advice is like that nosy neighbor who shows up just as you're about to enjoy a quiet meal, uninvited and usually inconvenient. So how can we politely handle these uninvited suggestions? Here are a few strategies. Be grateful, but don't commit. A simple, thank you for sharing can work wonders without agreeing to follow the advice. Set clear boundaries. I appreciate your concern, but I'd rather handle this in my own way. Firmly protects your space. Redirect the conversation. Subtly shift the topic to avoid more unwanted advice. Use humor. A light joke can relieve tension while sending the message that you're in control. The goal is not to be rude, but to protect your mental and emotional space. So, what would our friend Marcus Aurelius say about all this? This philosopher-emperor had profound insight into the nature of wisdom. He once wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if thou wilt ever dig." What Marcus Aurelius teaches us is that true wisdom doesn't come from outside but from within ourselves. We don't need constant validation or advice from others. Instead, we should trust in our own intuition and experience. Of course, this doesn't mean you should ignore all advice. Sometimes outside perspectives can be valuable, but the key is to filter and distinguish between what truly serves you and what is just noise. A helpful guideline is to follow the advice of people who are where you aspire to be. For instance, in my own life, I run a YouTube channel and regularly go to the gym. If someone who has never created online content offers me advice on how to run my channel, I take it with a grain of salt. However, if a seasoned YouTuber shares their perspective, I'm all ears. The same goes for fitness. If an experienced coach provides guidance, I'll consider it seriously. But if it comes from someone who's never set foot in a gym, I'll thank them and move on. So the next time you're bombarded by unsolicited advice, take a deep breath. Remember, you are the expert on your own life. Practice the art of polite listening, but don't feel obligated to act on every suggestion you receive. Treat unsolicited advice like a buffet. Take what works for you and leave the rest. As Marcus Aurelius would remind us, true wisdom lies within, waiting to be discovered. Are you ready to break free from the prison of unsolicited advice? Your mind is your castle, and you alone decide who enters and stays. Don't hesitate to be the gatekeeper of your own thoughts and decisions. Trap number 8, the mirage of quick fixes. Have you ever found yourself drawn to the idea of a magical shortcut that could instantly solve all your problems? Imagine your life as a giant puzzle with each piece representing a challenge, a lesson, or an experience. Now, what if someone handed you a superglue that promised to piece everything together in a heartbeat? Tempting, right? But ask yourself, would it really work? Quick fixes are like that imaginary superglue. promising instant results but often leaving us with a bigger mess. Why do we keep falling into this trap? A study from the University of Pennsylvania sheds light on this. Psychologists discovered that our brains are wired to seek the path of least resistance when facing complex problems. It's an ancient survival instinct. We crave immediate solutions, even when we know deep down that they're unlikely to work. But here's the thing. Real life doesn't work like that. Significant challenges take time, effort, and persistence to overcome. There's no magic pill, no secret formula for lasting success, no matter how much we wish for it. So, how can we resist the temptation of quick fixes? This is where Stoic wisdom comes in to guide us. One of the great Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, reminds us, no great achievement is achieved suddenly. This simple yet profound statement holds a powerful truth. Anything truly worthwhile takes time and consistent effort. Instead of searching for shortcuts, let's practice a more stoic approach to challenges. Identify the problem. Clearly define the issue you're facing. Embrace complexity. Recognize that real solutions are rarely simple. Plan for the long term. Set realistic goals and break them down into manageable steps. Cultivate patience. Understand that progress takes time. Celebrate small victories. Every step forward is a success, no matter how small. So next time you're tempted by a quick fix, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I looking for an easy way out, or am I ready to do the necessary work? Because at the end of the day, lasting solutions aren't found in shortcuts but in consistent effort, perseverance, and patience. As Epictetus also said, difficulties are what show people who they are. These challenges reveal our true character and help us grow into stronger versions of ourselves. Are you ready to leave behind the illusion of quick fixes and embrace the path of steady, meaningful progress? Remember, every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to build resilience. Don't seek shortcuts, seek growth. After all, the journey is just as important as the destination. And who knows, you might discover that the real treasure was found along the way. As we now arrive at the ninth and final trap to avoid, we encounter one of the most subtle yet pervasive dangers: the guilt that does not belong to us. Have you ever found yourself feeling like a magnet for other people's guilt? Imagine your mind as a carefully tended garden. You've worked diligently to cultivate positive thoughts, nurturing growth with care. Suddenly, someone shows up and starts tossing their emotional weeds into your space. What do? Many of us, perhaps out of habit or a desire to avoid conflict, accept these unwanted burdens without hesitation. But accepting someone else's guilt is like watering those invasive weeds. Before you know it, they have overtaken your mental landscape. Why is it so damaging to carry the weight of guilt that isn't yours? First, it drains your energy that could be spent on your own growth and well-being. Second, it distorts your perception of reality, leaving you confused and questioning yourself. And third, it traps you in a pattern of victimization, making it harder to set healthy boundaries in the future. But how can we break free from this subtle trap? The key lies in a practice of healthy boundary setting. Here's a practical technique you can apply. Identify. Recognize when someone is attempting to place blame on you. Breathe. Take a moment to center yourself and avoid reacting emotionally. Validate. Acknowledge the other person's feelings, but without accepting blame. Set limits. Politely but firmly communicate that you will not accept responsibility for their guilt. Redirect. Encourage the person to seek solutions to their problem without involving you unfairly. By practicing these steps, you'll see your mental garden flourish, free from the entangling vines of misplaced guilt. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, it is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them. This profound teaching shows us that we have the power to control how we perceive situations. The next time someone tries to shift their guilt onto you, remember, you are the gardener of your mind. You get to decide which thoughts, beliefs, and emotions take root and grow. It's not about being indifferent to the struggles of others. It's about maintaining a healthy balance between offering empathy and protecting your own well-being. Every time you refuse to accept guilt that isn't yours, you are planting seeds of self-respect and self-esteem. And these are the most beautiful flowers you can grow in your mental garden. So, Are you ready to free yourself from the trap of other people's guilt? Start today. Pay attention to your interactions. Notice when someone is trying to place their burden on your shoulders, and begin setting healthy boundaries. Do the best with what is within your power, and let the rest go. In this video, we've explored the 9 emotional traps that silently rob us of peace, from unsolicited opinions to the weight of others' guilt. But the real question is, how do we apply this knowledge? The art of wise rejection becomes our greatest tool. Wise rejection is not about slamming doors on the world, but about carefully choosing what deserves space in your life. Imagine yourself as the gatekeeper of your own mental garden. Each no you utter to something that doesn't serve you is a powerful yes to your personal growth. Here's a final exercise to put these insights into action. Take a piece of paper and draw 2 columns. In the first column, write down all the things you've been accepting in your life that no longer serve you, whether it's commitments, toxic relationships, or negative habits. In the second column, list what you stand to gain by rejecting each of those things, whether it's peace of mind, time, or energy for your passions. This exercise will give you clarity on what you need to start rejecting wisely. Remember, every no is an opportunity for a more meaningful yes. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Your freedom begins in your mind. You are the captain of your ship, the artist of your life. So, are you ready to take control and navigate toward a life of fulfillment and inner peace? Thank you for joining me on this journey toward deeper self-awareness and inner strength. If you found these insights valuable, be sure to subscribe to Stoic Rise Up and hit the notification bell so you won't miss future videos. And if you're ready to make your mental garden flourish, drop a comment below with "I protect my peace" to declare your commitment to rejecting what doesn't serve you. Until next time, stay wise, stay strong, and keep cultivating the life you truly deserve.